Holders by Leverkusen are out, OUT out of the German Cup in an upset for the ages as they fall 2-1 to third division Arminia Bielefeld. Jules, magic triple cup.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, this is the fourth Bundesliga team, that Bielefeld knock out. The captain is half French, half American, Maël Corbeaux, and was amazing in this game, like his whole team, really. There is that, I'm not really sure exactly what Xabi Alonso tried to do again in his the way he set up his team. But Bielefeld took the game, played with so much intensity. They were great to watch. It was really, really fun. The stadium was packed. The atmosphere was amazing. It's great. So well done to them. And third division in your domestic cup final. It's incredible.
Yeah, and this is not one of those games where it was a smash and grab. Arminia Bielefeld, really the numbers, the highlights, you can watch them and you can see that they outplayed them. And I'm sorry, this is on Xabi Alonso. You said you're not sure. I think he went and he pooed his pants again and just let me go and play with three center backs and essentially three holding midfielders, because you've got Andrich and Xhaka and Alex Garcia, those types. Jonathan Tah not helping things either. And then you keep Victor Boniface on the bench. I mean, what gives? Well, why are you doing this? We're not done, Jules. We have more quick hits.
Yes, God.
It's going to be a CLASICO Copa del Rey final. As we told you, Ferran Torres starts ahead of Robert Lewandowski and scores the only goal as Barcelona win 1-0 at the Metropolitano.
Yeah, this was a good game, even if it's just a 1-0 scoreline. Really, Barca were very good for an hour. Lamine Yamal again with some moment of absolute genius class. And then Atletico put a bit of a fight in it. They scored 2 goals that were disallowed for tiny offsides. It was a bit better for them, but then you also felt there was just not enough cutting edge, even with Alvarez and Solos then coming on and Griezmann. And they tried, they pushed. It was not enough in the end. And I think the CLASICO Copa del Rey final is pretty much the dream scenario.
Yeah, I want to go deeper on this at some point, but and this is an idea I'm stealing from Sid Lowe on his podcast. He made the point that when you compare this Barcelona side, who has scored more than the great Messi, Guardiola sides,
more than anyone in Europe.
What's remarkable is that most of these guys are either at the end of their career or at the start of their career. Mostly, if you go through the best players, I ask myself, like, who is really at the peak of his powers age-wise? And it's Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, who's been injured all season. It's Rafinha, who comes from Leeds. The rest, you've got Yamal, who's going to get better, presumably, and Lewandowski, who should have been done years ago, or Inigo Martinez, who's 34, or, so player for player, they may not be great, but as a collective, they may not be great. They may not be as great as the people, as the Busquets, Xavi, Iniesta midfield, but collectively, they're right up there. Oh, and shout out to Pedro. You could argue he's entering the prime of his career.
Yeah. Off the pitch, though, there are more issues for them, Gab.
Yeah, so remember how they were only able to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor? Sorry, I just had the name check Pau Victor, technically. Not that he's moved the needle in any way. Because they're only able to do this because they sold $100 million worth of VIP box seats in advance.
From the new stadium,
in the new stadium, yeah. And they got an auditor to certify this, and it was an auditor who apparently, according to reports, according to La Liga, who are contesting this, was only hired for 4 days, and they're not actually accounted for in the club accounts. This would be really bad, and this would essentially be false accounting, and they're in trouble. I'm sure they're going to appeal. Laporta was unhappy that this news came out on the morning that they were playing Atletico Madrid, whatever. The reality is, don't put yourself in this situation, and you don't have to worry when the bad news comes out. I hope they did everything by the book. The last thing they need is more clever accounting. And again, I go back to Laporta. Dude, you hire lawyers and accounting experts, and they say, yeah, boss, we can fix this. You have to make sure you hire the right people and make sure they can fix it in a way that won't get you in trouble.
Milan and Inter battled to a 1-1 derby draw in the Coppa Italia first leg, semi-final. Gab, all to play for then?
Yeah, I think, look, Sergio Conceição, it's like he can't win. He made some choices. Pulisic at 10, which Pulisic is, I don't think he's fully fit. He's not going through a good period. He had a rough game. Tammy Abraham, on the other hand, is getting it done. Inter, a bunch of players out, rotating. We know it's the Inzaghi thing. I don't need to see Joaquin Correa start, but unfortunately he's inflicted on me again. And yeah, it's all to play for. I mean, we always knew this was going to be kind of like
Yeah.
a first half result, and especially with these two teams. And that's exactly what it is. And Davide Fratesi, by the way, he does not want to watch this game back at all.
But
He
Mike
needs-
Maignan might, because it's probably his best game in a long time for Milan. Stuttgart will face Arminia Bielefeld in the German Cup final, Gab, after beating Leipzig and the new boss, Lot Love, 3-1.
Yeah, so first of all, Jolt Löw, I really like you a lot more than Marco Rose. He's
Yeah.
animated on the sidelines. His team played better. This is a game where, dare I say it, we've seen Leipzig, especially I think what kept Rose alive for so long is that they got results while playing horrendously. Here, they arguably, for long stretches, played better, maybe created more chances than
Yeah.
Stuttgart. But come on, it's Stuttgart. What a great story. They lose their best
I
players.
know.
They have Hernes. And they have a guy who I think is pretty much unlike any other player playing right now. Nick Voldemort, who, if you haven't seen this, just watch these highlights. You see this guy who's like, I don't know, he looks like he's 7 feet tall.
He's 2
not
meters.
really.
I don't know how many. No,
Is he really 2 meters?
198, I think he is.
Okay. And he's like lanky. He's all like arms and legs. He's supposed to
Yeah.
be totally uncoordinated. He has a ridiculous touch. He can play central. He can play wide. I don't know where they've been hiding him. In a sense, he's already 23 years old.
Yeah.
He,
was on
obviously
loan, I
made a
think.
bunch of progress this year, but he is so fun to watch. Must be so awkward. He played just behind Demirovic, the striker in this game. You can use him in different ways.
He scored a hat trick against Spain under 21 with Germany under 21. One of the 3 goals is just, for somebody that his size, is amazing.
Okay, so now you're probably wondering, oh, how do you spell that guy that Gab just mentioned? Voltemade. Woltemade. Hit pause. Go check out his hat trick in Spain and then come back to us.
Check out Stiller's goal as well in this game, because it was lovely.
Paris Saint-Germain also get to play in a cup final. Jules beating second division Dunkirk away 4-2. They had to come from behind, but they fall asleep.
Yeah, they fell asleep again, a bit like against Saint-Etienne in the league on Saturday. 2 goals on set pieces, well, 1 on set pieces, 1 on a long ball. Marquinhos losing another jewel in the air, and they 2 goals down, and you think, okay, maybe this is the story. Dunkirk have been great. We've said it, then Baba is the sporting director. Luis Castro, the other Luis Castro, the former Benfica youth team coach, is their first team coach. They've got this very rich Turkish owner who also owns Samsunspor. And they're doing well. And then Dembele scored just before the break. And then second half is all PSG, really. There's a bit of controversy over the second goal, but PSG were much better.
By the way, Dembele absolutely leathers the ball.
That's a great
How
goal
hard
as
did
well.
he hit it? They needed a radar gun.
Yeah, amazing. 2 more goals and an assist for Dembele. And
Desiree Doué, sorry. I know you want to be Neymar. Copy the good things of Neymar, not the bad things. If you score a deflected goal against a team from the second division, you don't need to give it the large, give it the big one with the celebration.
No, I know. 21st final for PSG in the cup. Tis Dalinga, Liga and Toulouse legend, of course. Backs 2 goals at Bologna, roll past Empoli away 3-0 in the Coppa Italia semi-final first leg. Their season is going under the radar, Gab.
Yeah, which is pretty remarkable because, you compare them to last season, and they finished in the Champions League places. They lose their coach. They lose Joshua Zirkzee, arguably their best player. I'm blanking on who else they lost. But
Calafiori?
Obviously they lost Calafiori to Arsenal,
Cook
arguably
Miners.
their best defender. Lewis Ferguson coming back after a really, really serious injury. And they're doing even better this year.
Yeah.
And they're they got 1 foot in the Coppa Italia final. It's a tremendous story. And they did it without the Punisher, Santiago Castro, who I think is possibly their single biggest prospect. So, Dalinga, the joke on Dalinga was that he never scores. Well, he had 2 now.
Yeah.
Paris Saint-Germain will face Stade Reims in the French Cup final after they won 2-1 at Caen. Jules, they're fighting to avoid relegation from the top flight, and they haven't actually beaten any top flight side in this cup run. I mean, they had to get, I guess, biggest gap was Monaco, and they took them to penalties.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you feel pretty confident.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's a final at the Stade de France. PSG might still be in the Champions League at that point and have other things on their mind. I don't know. But yeah, first final in 48 years for Reims, who obviously were one of the biggest clubs in France back in the day.
They were in the European Cup final.
Yeah, twice, even in the 60s, 50s and 60s. Their coach, who's the interim coach because they sacked
Diawara,
Diawara, said at the end, I don't want to spoil the party, but this is great. Okay, good. It's a final. I hope this brings us momentum, but we're fighting for our life in the league. And I think as big as they are, or as big as they have been, if they go down to Ligue 2, it's easily the kind of club that you think could struggle to go back up. So, huge end of the season for them before even thinking about the French Cup final. FIFA are looking to stage a one-game playoff between LAFC and Club America for the final Club World Cup spot. The one, that was vacated when Leon were kicked out because they could not be in the same competition as Pachuca. Gab, are you okay with this? This like playoff final kind of thing?
Kind of. I mean, look, obviously they're going to replace Leon. I still don't understand why the team from Costa Rica, Alajuelense, but it sounds like they're slightly making these things up as you go along.
Right, okay.
I think there's going to be more legal. Look, we already know there's a legal challenge from Leon. I think Alajuelense have their own legal challenge in the works. This is their idea. I mean, at some point, I think these legal challenges will probably run out of time. And you look at this and the arguments, I mean, like, you can pick based on different things. Like they decided, oh, look, for the U.S. representative, we'll choose the team that's won the most points in the regular season.
Yeah.
So, hey, look, casually you have Inter Miami. So casually here you have Club America, arguably the best supported club in all of Mexico, among those who are not already qualified, probably overall. And then you have, oh, look, LAFC, like from LA.
Yeah. Superstar owners and players.
Yeah, the argument is Club America were the highest ranked team in Mexico, and I guess they're replacing a Mexican team, but shouldn't this be overall? Not the Alajuelense argument. And LAFC lost to Leon, which is how Leon qualified, so maybe it should be, I don't know. I think there's going to be more twists and turns here. Roberto De Zerbi is reportedly the hot favorite to take over at Milan, Jules.
Yeah,
good choice based on what we're seeing in Marseille. Are they going to be sad to see him go?
I mean, I think they're more surprised now because when he came in the summer, he said, I'm here for, it's a 3-year project. I want to stay. I want to do this. So now they feel like if he was to leave, it'd be a massive, massive lie. You don't have to come to a new club and say, I'm here for the long time. Just say like, I'm going to do the best job possible this season. It's fine. If Milan want you and you want to go to Milan because you're De Zerbi, fine. I've got no issue with it. But don't come up with those big words of like, I'm here for the long term. We're going to win together. All that BS that he said. Is he doing a good job? He's doing a okay job, I think, with the squad that he has and the players that he has. They were second for a long time. Now they're third because they lost again. 4 defeats in the last 5. But it's De Zerbi, and we know he's good. It's not because he lost a few games that he's not good anymore suddenly. So it'd be great. I think at times you know him better than I do, but he can be difficult to work with. He can have issues with people above him. Yeah, sure. But I think it'd be a shame for Ligue 1 and Marseille to lose him.
I look at this and I think on paper they have the second best squad in Ligue 1, and they have no European football. Yeah. Unlike Monaco, who, of course, I just passed them in the second place. Look, they'll probably finish second, but they're freaking 21 points behind.
True.
They should be doing better, as I see it. I'm not even a secret. I think that Zerbi... I don't think this is Milan putting this out there. Right. I think this is De Zerbi's people. And I think it has to do with the fact that De Zerbi... Milan looked at De Zerbi before when they hired Paulo Fonseca.
Yeah.
When De Zerbi was still at Brighton, I think De Zerbi would be a really good fit in many ways in terms of type of football he plays at Milan. But equally, I don't think Milan are going to choose a coach until they choose a director of football. And there's a lot of impetus behind Fabio Paratici, of course, formerly at Tottenham, formerly banned as well, then unbanned, and then partially banned. But... yeah, I think people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves. He should be in it.
Yeah,
but I agree with you. When you go to a club, it doesn't mean you necessarily say, I'm going to start a cycle. I'm going to be here for 10 years. No, just say, I'm going to do the best I can. Thank you for the 3-year contract, and let's see where we go.
Yeah. St. Pauli fans have raised 27 million euros to take over a majority stake in the club's Milento Stadium. I'm not sure if I'm saying that. Gab, what does this mean?
So... in some ways, it means a lot. In other ways, it really doesn't mean that much. St. Pauli, this stadium where St. Pauli plays, St. Pauli are a members club anyway, and I think they will always be a members club.
Yeah.
Now, there's no wealthy billionaire who's going to come and buy St. Pauli for obvious reasons. But I think it gives the club more control. They're minority owners in the company that owns the stadium, essentially, right? They raised £27 million to do it. It's so weird. Uli Hoeneß.
Is he a St. Pauli fan? I mean, I thought he was just a Bayern legend, but maybe not.
I think this stems back to years ago. Uli Hoeneß, I think he arranged for them some financing when they were close to going bankrupt. Uli Hoeneß, I don't think is from there. I mean, I believe he's very Bavarian.
Yeah.
But there's these pictures of him at a St. Pauli game a few years ago where he's walking around, where he's wearing, I think, one of the ugliest T-shirts I've ever seen.
Really?
It's a St. Pauli T-shirt, which, to celebrate St. Pauli, which somebody gave him, and he put it on over his button down. It's brown. Brown T-shirts generally are really difficult to pull off. But he apparently is one of these investors. Hey, it's great. I'm all for more fan ownership. In some ways, it's a little bit like what exists at Chelsea with Chelsea pitch owners, except they control this even more. They're not in it to make money. They're in it to serve their community and have fun doing it. And kind of wish there was a bit more of that, actually, along with better governance in football. Jules, Messi's bodyguard is unhappy.
Yeah, that's right, Gab. Yasin Choko, you probably have seen him on some clips on social media because he is the one that anytime somebody tries to jump onto the pitch to go and take a selfie with Messi, he's the one like rugby tackling the guy before he gets to Messi. They've been working together for a long time, and now he's been banned from attending MLS games. He's also preparing for a boxing fight with one of the
people who runs onto the pitch.
Yeah, yeah, probably as well. And he looks strong, to be fair. But yeah, we won't see him trying to rugby tackle people.
I don't think he's been banned. I think he's been banned from going onto the pitch with Lionel Messi.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I think he's still allowed to be at games. He made the point that for some reason he worked with him for 8 years in France and whatever, and he says it only happened 8 times. In those 8 years, something like that, and it's happened 16 times or more than that.
14 times, yeah, or something, yeah.
Am I, dude? Like, what you think you're going to stop it? I mean, there's a provision there. There's a security. Just live with it. But hey, I like the fact that he's drawing more publicity to himself,
of course, exactly.
You can all find out about his upcoming boxing match.
Gab, your boy Victor Osimhen scores twice as Galatasaray beat Fenerbahce 2-1 to advance to the semi-final of the Turkish Cup, where they will face Konyaspor. But obviously, this was all overshadowed by Jose Mourinho and Okan Buruk at the final whistle.
Yeah, and immediately my mind went back to him and the late, great Tito Villanova, poking him in the eye after the CLASICO, 11, 12 years ago. With Borat, by the way, looking on behind them. That picture seared into my brain about that guy who looks just like Borat, like totally expressionless while this goes on. It looked like Borat, Okan Buruk was walking, and he obviously said something. It was obviously words exchange.
Yeah.
Mourinho kind of sneakily comes up behind him, sort of prances into the picture, and it looks like he's grabbing his nose.
Yeah, or pinching his nose.
Buruk collapses. Like
if he'd been shot.
Yeah. Now, look, Okan Buruk, everybody can see what's happening. What are you trying to do? You stopped playing a long time ago. How about, look, this is all on Mourinho. He's likely to face a long ban. You don't put your hands in somebody else's face. Yeah. He's going to get a long ban, a long fine, and I'm happy to throw Mourinho under the bus. I've done it many times. I think many times he does very stupid things. I think Buruk's behavior is frankly absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah.
Just be a man. Seriously. Yeah. Honestly, you don't need to do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you want to get Mourinho in trouble as well. He's already put himself in enough trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
From his perspective, I don't know what snaps in his head. I think he needs a little bit of help because he's paid to do a job, and he cannot do his job if he's constantly suspended and creating controversy and whatever else. This just kind of played to a whole bunch of the worst sort of stereotypes. Also, there's a stat out there which Mourinho haters. I can't believe I'm sticking up for Mourinho this much on the show, but I think it's fair. Mourinho haters point out that I think he's only won 1 trophy since Rui Faria left him. Rui Faria, by the way, not his longtime partner, but his longtime assistant. Yes, he's also managed worse teams since then. Let's be fair about that. Yeah. And if he were here, he would say he was denied the chance to win one of those when he was let go by Spurs.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. So and replaced by, was it Ryan freaking Mason replaced him?
Just
like Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
Jules, this brings us to an end, but we're going to come back on Monday. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.